So I'm actually in the southern Atacama region at the moment, which is not hyper arid like the true Atacama Desert further north of here. But if you go up about 500 or 600 kilometers from this location further inland, you get the true hyper arid Atacama Desert. But this is a very mesec habitat, so it does actually rain. And of course, we get quite a lot of fog formation. So you can see on the top of that mountain over there, those clouds have really accumulated right on the summit. So up there would be really quite heavy in vegetation compared to where I am at the moment. But we still have an interesting diversity of flora occurring here. So one of the favorite Chilean cacti amongst collectors is RHS Bridgewater. So I've got a really great example of that cactus here. And it's quite big. It's around about 2 inches in diameter, which is probably fairly common for a cultivated plant. So what we've got here really quite closely resembles what you would see in cultivation. But they do have a very restricted habitat range. We've got another really nice example of one growing underneath this oxalis here. And this one's very, very green in color. So one of the interesting things about visiting habitat is you can see a really wide genetic diversity occurring, different phenotypes of plants. So some of the RHS Bridgewater can be purple to gray in color, while others are much more green. And of course, the flowers too can change a lot in color and even morphology as well. We've also got Copiapoa filorania, which is very, very common in this area in the southern Atacama region. And it grows in a range of habitats from directly along the coast at almost 0 meters. I've seen it growing in places where it would definitely get exposed to salt water every day. So it's highly tolerant to saline conditions. But then of course you can see it growing up in the mountains where I am now too. So we're right on the shoulder season here between winter and spring. So we're just a little bit too early to see flowers on this Eulychnia. But if we were to come back in a couple of months' time, it has a really nice, quite a large white flower. And really common pollinators in this area are hummingbirds, bees, hoverflies. And you get a lot of Eulychnia forming this really nice candelabra shape, as you can see here. And this example would be really quite old. Yeah, so these ones are Eulychnia breviflora. But if you go a little bit further inland, you get Eulychnia acida. And if you go south of here, you get Eulychnia chorosensis. Here we've got a Echinopsis trichocereus in bloom. This is a very early flower, but if you were to come back in a month or two, you'd be able to see a lot more. So really quite lucky to see this in bloom today. I have managed to locate an RHS villosa in bloom here. So it's really quite a cryptic cactus in habitat. It's difficult to spot unless it's in flower, of course. And well, the flower, its purpose is to attract a pollinator. So it's chosen a really nice, vibrant color. The major issues always are climate change, expansion of civilization, so construction of new housing developments and highways and roads. Mining is always a really massive one too. But the issue which I tend to focus on a lot, which really directly impacts critically endangered plants, is poaching. So the plants which are most likely to be poached from habitat are in that category. if they're rare in habitat, they're always going to be rare in cultivation. So they're the ones that are targeted. And they've almost always got a really restricted distribution range. Sometimes they only grow on the summit of one particular mountain, for example, where I am now. And so, a poacher or a group of poachers could easily wipe out that entire population in a day. Anyway, this is the habitat today from Chile. I hope you've enjoyed it.
The British cactus and succubus